Can I get into the foam pit?
You certainly can. After a moment, you hear footsteps outside the cart, and all of a sudden, you're moving.
My head springs out like a jack-in-the-box.
So you spring out of the cart of foam into the very surprised face of Margaret Hillary, who is pushing the cart. She curses and... Now what are you doing hiding in a car like this? This is... what? Do you know what you're messing with? I know you find some wild visitors, but this is unacceptable. Come on, get back to the party.
Margaret, I might know better than anyone else what I'm messing with here.
Now, I don't know what you think you know, but I certainly can guarantee it's not what you know.
Certainly. Well, I'll just get out of the cart, and I'll just be sitting here next to the dinosaur statue.
Enjoy your stay, sir.
I'm gonna... My eyes are just gonna, like, be staring dead at her. Can I see the cloakroom from here?
Yes, you don't see the attendant.
I'm watching her, and I'm making it clear that I am watching her, but I'm keeping my distance.
Okay. You watch her. She switches the carts. She disappears for a moment behind the desk, and then returns with the other cart.
Really? She's doing all of this, even though I'm, like, just staring daggers at her?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at her and say, Margaret, I believe you left your handkerchief back there.
Why don't you come show me?
Terrifying. Yeah, I will walk with her to the attendant, but I am like,
okay.
I am so wired right now. Like, if she takes out a second handkerchief or gun or anything.
All right. Well, you peek over the desk. There is no handkerchief on the mouth of the attendant. You hear the words, "Now sleep tight," and she's going to try to put the handkerchief over your mouth. I don't know how we want to play this because this is not meant for combat or
this is not
dexterity.
A combat system.
So
yeah. You know, how's this? We can either flip a coin or roll a die, or you can just say she knocks me out, because, like, it's your loop. You know, you decide. Just because I said
right.
I was watching out for it doesn't mean that I can't.
Let's roll a D4. All right. Go ahead and give me a roll. Give me a number.
I rolled a 1.
Okay. This intense tropical burning smell fills your nostril as she covers your nose and mouth with the handkerchief. You're trying to fight against her, but she is strong from her years of expeditioning and jungling, and she holds you tight until the blackness fades in. You're kind of drifting. Drifting. And then a white light shattering of glass, intense heat, pain, and you're back at the staircase.
When you say tropical, I can only imagine, like, slightly pineapple scented or something. How would one... Oh, is that mango flavored chloroform? Oh, exciting. Oh, that's a nice flavor.
New flavor at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Mind Palace, time to regroup.
Okay.
Is it 6:30? Am I at the artifact?
It is 6:30.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Who killed Etienne? Margaret. Almost certainly. She switches the carts. He, already having prepared a cart of foam and with fake blood, is planning to fake his own death for some reason. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. I also don't know why Margaret would want to kill him unless she is working with the Revenant, which might make sense because that is her trade is in rare artifacts. That also gives her a motive for possibly being the one to take the Sumerian sundial back, I assume, since she was the one who found it. But the unanswered questions are, why was he going to fake his death in the first place? And was Margaret on the inside of it, or did she just figure out that he was going to do it? Oh my gosh.
Good mind palace.
Thank you. Oh, as another side note, I think it's kind of fun that right now I'm standing at an exhibit in a museum that was in an exhibit at a museum.
The levels, it's Inception.
You could have called this the museum exhibit.
Museum exhibit.
Yes, even better. This loop, I'm gonna kind of skip through time until I can talk to Kira on her own.
Okay. So you skip ahead about... So she's sitting at the table for the whole speech. About 7:25, 26, she gets up and goes into the Viking exhibit. You can go and catch her on the way.
I think I'll follow her into the Viking exhibit as if I'm perusing, kind of track what she's doing in here specifically, and then, yeah.
She doesn't look at any of the exhibits. She walks straight on past to one of the French doors that are open, steps out into the statuary gardens.
I follow her yet again, but try to make it look like I'm interested in statues.
All right. She weaves into the little tiny hedge maze. You're able to follow her. You see her sitting at a fountain on a bench.
Okay.
After a few minutes, you hear someone walking up the path.
I want to see who that is.
You kind of shimmy yourself into a corner to try to not get noticed.
Sure.
Yay, nay, or
sure.
You're just gonna... Okay, cool. Either way, and you see Gavril coming down the path with 2 drinks in his hand.
Ah.
And he walks past you and sits by Kira on the bench. And they are so very, very close.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
That's some hot goss right there. I think, well, now that I've found myself in this position, I want to eavesdrop. See if they talk about anything important.
Ooh. Okay. So you scooch a little closer to try to, because they're talking in kind of hushed tones. Obviously, it's something they don't want people to overhear, but you get close enough to catch snippets, and it seems definitely that they are lovers. And it seems like Gavril is trying to convince Kira not to do something. So there's a little bit of tension there. She seems very adamant on doing whatever it is, but he's like, please, like, don't, just wait. We can do this another way. It's too dangerous.
All right. I know that Kira later this evening will steal documents from the office. That's the only thing I know about Kira's objective this evening.
As you're listening intently to the conversation, trying to pick out words, you hear a scattering of pebbles behind you as if someone's trying to walk slowly up the path.
Oh, so much going on. But as a side note, can I see the vine terrace wall that leads up to the roof from here?
Yes, you can.
Okay. I'm gonna wait to see who this person is walking through.
You see a shape emerge from one of the corners. It is Julian.
Everyone goes into the statuary garden this evening. Everyone. Because eventually, what's her name? Genevieve is gonna come over here to grab a thing. Oh, wait, I can grab that thing. But you said Julian is like sneaking.
Yeah, he's sneaking.
Okay. I mean, if I see him, I'm assuming he sees me, or am I still hidden?
He seems to be focused on the pair on the bench, not on anything else.
Okay. Is he's young though? Is he too young for Kira to be interested in Kira?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of odd.
It'd be odd. Okay. So it doesn't,
you don't,
possibly not jealousy?
you would suspect not jealousy, but I mean, I suppose you never know.
Marcus to Nathan, is there anything in this encounter that I would miss if I left at this point?
No. You would watch Julian watch the two.
Mm-hmm. Okay, in that case, I would like to try to relocate the statue that I saw Genevieve reach behind a few loops ago.
Okay, so it takes you a little bit to reroute through the hedges, but you eventually find the statue of the man with a serpent around him. You reach behind, you see a panel, but nothing situated there.
There's a hiding spot, but no.
You don't see, no bag with whatever item was in it. It has not been there.
Did the bag look heavy when I saw it last?
Yes.
Like heavy like a sanguine serpent heavy? Or heavy like a Sumerian sundial heavy?
The bag would looking back, you would have noticed if it was the Sumerian sundial because of all of the protrusions and the curved shape. It was definitely not that.
But a sanguine serpent hidden behind a serpent statue is suspicious.
That is true.
Okay, so perhaps the serpent was stolen by Genevieve. Okay, Mr. Curator. So what do you feel like I should go for here? Because there's clearly so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you feel like I'm at?
I feel like you've gotten a lot of the what happened. You're trying to figure out the why. So the motive, you've got pieces of the motive for Etienne's murder. And I think with a little more digging in an area or two or talking to specific people, you could figure it out within the loop.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, I'd like to do another time skip, another fast pass.
Okay.
Acquire the key from dead Gavarel and go to the office of Etienne to look at the papers that I stole the first loop and then, or the second loop? The first loop, and then they disappeared.
Okay. So you open the office with the key. Door's actually already open, and you notice as you push in that the doorknob is shoved into the door. Someone's forced their way in. As you look inside, you see Kira rifling through Etienne's desk.
All right, I've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the context that she and Gavril have a thing, she wasn't present to see him collapse on the ground, was she?
No.
So, okay. Well, I think I'm going to do what I did that first loop. If I remember right, I bumped into her or something, or she dropped papers by the sundial.
Yep. Dropped.
Yeah, I'm going to follow that path so I can pick up the papers and look at them.
Whoop. You got the papers. Looking at the papers, you see that there are statements. Basically, what you find is a series of transactions between Etienne and a series of clients. And as you look through the list of transactions, they're for artifacts, which is odd because they're artifacts that are on display in this museum, in fact. But it's saying here that he sold them or gave them to someone for a certain X amount of money. But they're still supposedly here in the museum. So, a little confusing on that. Yeah, you see a couple transactions that just say TR, which...
should I know who that is? TR. The Revenant. The Revenant.
The Revenant. Mm-hmm.
Including the Sumerian sundial and the Sanguine Serpent?
You do see one for the Sanguine Serpent. You don't see one for the sundial. The sundial, you do know, is a newer piece. And if going back, it looks like a lot of the pieces that are on this are a little older. Maybe not centerpieces, but yeah.
Okay, so he definitely is still in the pocket or still interacting with the Revenant.
As you are standing studying the papers, you hear something coming from the office. That's still open.
Gonna go over there.
You go inside to see a form who you're pretty sure is Margaret exiting via the window.
Via the window, as if she walked in the office and is now leaving through the window? Or she entered the window and exited?
You would guess enter and exit because you've been standing up by the sundial. You would have seen someone enter through the doors.
You're right.
The desk is even more rifled. The computer screen is turned, and you can see some web pages pulled up, but Margaret is leaving.
I mean, I feel like I've only got a few minutes or seconds left, so I'm going to run to the computer screen and look at those web pages.
Okay. What you can see is it's open to an email account, and you can click something is just sent. It just has the little notification, just sent. Rethink the sending or whatever the little message is, and you pull it up. It's essentially a suicide note.
She's covering up her tracks. Okay. Nothing else.
Nothing else on the desktop.
Okay. On the desk itself?
Desk itself, all the drawers have been emptied out. Things that were locked have been forced open. Pens, pencils dumped on the ground. It's a mess of papers. At this moment, unless you have any last words.
My last words are, why? Man, because, all right, so here's the thing. She's leaving a suicide note, which is fine and dandy. Why would she also leave a note that says, signed the Revenant? Like, that's an interesting double. Unless the note from the Revenant, was that found in his pocket?
It was found in his pocket.
So that could have been placed there by Mr. Etienne Cousteau himself. Okay. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. You feel a shockwave roll over you, hear the split sound of shattering glass, and then an immense heat, the burning, brief bit of pain, and you're back in front of the sundial.
Is there any directionalness to the flash and the shattering? Did it feel like it came from?
It came from below you.
What is exploding? What is shattering?
There is a lot of glass in this museum, but the largest portion of glass is the wall of glass doors at the front of the museum.
All right, but the question is, what's the explosion? What's exploding?
That is the question.
I feel like there's an inelegance to like deciding to take the completionist route of like just waiting places to see things. But now that I know for sure at least one person who killed Etienne, I feel like I'm just in for the understanding now. This is all just bonus knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, actually, let me quickly kind of go through my list of mysteries here. Who took the Sanguine Serpent? It sounds like very possibly that was Genevieve. Who took the Sumerian Sundial? That I do not know. Could be Margaret. Who knocked out the coat check person? That was Margaret. Who killed Etienne? Margaret. Who did Julian poison? Because he got really dicey when I mentioned he knows stuff about jungle poisons. It's possible he was the one who helped Margaret poison the coat check person. And then the other new mysteries are why fake your own death or why sell things in a museum. Okay. Information gathering loop. I want to wait until I can get Kira alone and ask her. First, I want to ask her about Margaret, and then, go from there.
Okay, cool. So since it's 6:30, it's a little earlier. You don't see Genevieve at the table. In fact, it's just Kira at the table, so you are able to go up to her and talk with her. And remind me your questions.
What's Margaret's story? Like, is she a new up-and-comer? Has she been in the biz a long time?
She has been here quite a while. I don't really know her that well beyond reputation. And the reputation she does have is quite impressive. Artifact recovery, restoration, exploration. She's really the face of this whole operation. She's the one who found the artifact. Hardest attack and just as likely to prick you as well.
Oh, I forgot. You usually have written out if you ask character about other characters, but I always forget to ask characters about characters. In that case, I'm gonna ask her about Genevieve.
Don't know much about her, but she seems to know her art. Particularly interested in the jungle room, actually. I saw her go in there a little bit ago.
Yeah, that lines up with her being a thief. And then I'd like to ask her, because now I know about the Revenant, more so from her. So I'd like to... Actually, you know what? I'll start by asking, so what's all this about Mr. Etienne Cousteau selling museum artifacts?
She tries to play it cool, but her eyes go wide. Professor Turton, I didn't know you were aware of such dealings. Tell me, what do you know?
Oh, I asked first.
Well,
What I know is that you are a patron. Sorry, you are a patron of this fine establishment. Possibly also a Patreon. I don't know. So I would assume that you would have some interest in the acquisition and possible requisition of priceless artifacts. And I was curious, which side of things are you on? Or how do you feel about these dealings with the Revenant?
I am on the side of recovery. I know the Revenant by reputation. I know they're dangerous. I know they're ruthless. I try my best to stay under the radar, and I would appreciate if this conversation didn't leave this table. If it does, I will have ways of finding out. Now, if you're thinking about getting into the black market, I can tell you there is nothing to be gained from getting in with Etienne or the Revenant. In a few weeks' time, both will be gone.
An expose?
You could call it that. All we need is the last few pieces.
And who...
If perhaps you know more than you're telling.
I have some valuable information. Are you as keen on collecting information as you are on artifacts?
I am. She sits a little closer.
The read on this situation, from what she just said, does it sound like her purpose for grabbing those papers was to expose the Revenant? And
Etienne, yes.
Okay. Oh man, I don't actually have any information for her. I'm going to say, this very night, I expect this museum to be a bit lighter, if you know what I mean. Some speedy acquisitions.
These are revelations. Do you happen to know which pieces may be going on a vacation?
I want to talk in like the double, like the double talk of like a certain snake will be going on a trip. And I tell her the Sanguine Serpent and I believe the Sundial as well.
That's bold. That's very bold. I thank you for your information, and I would advise you to be careful. Not everyone here is on the same side.
Clearly. Okay, well, I end that conversation with this loop. I'd like to wait until after the carts are switched and swap them back.
Okay.
Then I would like to go up to where the sundial is and camp there. I believe the lights will turn off. If possible, if I could have a torch or a flashlight or something.
Okay. You are able to acquire one through some sneaky means. You camp out there. You watch. You're camping out until the lights go out?
Yeah, until the sundial disappears.
You sit there. You watch. At one point, Etienne comes up and he fiddles with the dial. You watch as he leaves. You watch a couple other people come up. Julian comes and stares at the sundial for a little bit. He goes back down. At 8, you hear the screams. Everything.
Sorry, you said that Etienne was messing with the dials.
Yeah.
Did he set the time loop?
It looks like he knew what he was doing. So it looks possible, yeah.
Could he have orchestrated more than just his own death, but a way to live?
You watch, as he sets it, he's also consulting something in his notebook, something written down. Consults his watch, heads confidently towards the scorching exhibit.
He has a booklet that explains how to do the thing?
Perhaps not mess with the dial, but perhaps it seemed like he had places to go, and he knew that he had places to go.
Like, he wrote out this... Is he a time traveler? Does he know he needs to be certain places?
He does seem to know that he needs to be certain places, but...
As if he had an appointment scheduled. I guess you don't have to be a time traveler to have appointments.
You see that. That strikes you as a little odd.
Julian walks up. Mm-hmm.
Julian walks up, stares at the artifact for a little bit. About 7:45, he walks away. At around 8, you hear the screaming, etc. People rushing, panic, the music stops, etc. A few minutes later, you see Gavril and his whole squad walk up. You see them come down a little bit later, and then around 8:30, lights go out. And it takes a few moments for your eyes to adjust, but by the lights of the emergency exit signs, you can still see people moving. You hear footsteps coming towards the sundial as someone in boots tracking snow from the snow exhibit comes towards the dial. Are you hiding out of the way, or are you standing in front of it?
I'm hiding out of the way.
As your eyes adjust to the dim lights, you can see it is Margaret. She grabs the sundial and runs into the scorching exhibit, trailing snow.
Have I not
or
ever
fake snow.
gone into the Arctic exhibit? Have I never gone there?
I don't know that you have, actually.
Oh, gosh darn it. I mean, is there a missing artifact in there? Wait, Margaret went to the scorching exhibit. So maybe she's going, to the roof and then... Or to the office door. Maybe she's going out a window so she can go through a window into the office? No, that's a little while later, maybe. All right, yeah, I think I'll waltz into the Arctic exhibit.
Okay. You look around with your flashlight. You can see, you follow her tracks, I assume, to an igloo, actually. So let me describe the Arctic room a little bit, because I can't remember if you've been here or not. This exhibit pays tribute to all different Arctic explorers. There's a huge iceberg taking up a quarter of the wall. A small igloo occupies another corner. And there's a spiraling pole next to a team of dog sleds and 3 hunters. 2 of the hunters are wearing furs and holding spears, but the last one is only wearing a loincloth. You follow the tracks to a little igloo, which they go in and go out. Next to the igloo is a door that says security.
I try to open it.
Okay. The door doesn't open. There's a little keypad with a code needed. You can go into the igloo. It is wide enough to stoop into.
Okay, I'll do that.
You slide in there, and you see that there is a box that says power, and there's a spear through it, and some clothes, discarded hunter-esque clothes on the ground.
Did she dress up like a hunter? Why was she cosplaying at a time like this? Was she posing as one, or can I just not see the body that the spear and clothes belong to?
They look like they've been recently discarded, so yes, you would guess that she was posing as a hunter.
What was she doing? It's Margaret's all the way down. She's up to every moment of her dang days. So suspicious. Okay, so the lights turned off because of her.
After a few minutes, something kicks in. You'd guess it's probably a backup generator or something. The power turns back on, so you can see lights and everything. See, now you don't need your flashlight.
Anything else of interest within this room?
Nope.
Okay. I'm assuming I can't force my way through the keypad door?
No, but at some point, some guards rush out. You could step in if you'd like to, because things are going crazy.
I guess I'll do that.
Inside, smaller room with an array of screens. All the screens are haywire. They're flashing between images. It seems like the power really screwed up the security system. There are keys, a key ring sitting on the desk.
Okay. The loop's almost over, right?
Mm-hmm. At this point, you have approximately 15 minutes left.
I'm gonna let the loop restart. Oh wait. And then right when I see the time reaching 9, I want to run into the main foyer and just
Okay.
I'm looking. I want to see.
Okay. Well, you see it. A giant fireball explodes from the cloakroom in the split second before everything goes black. Everything goes white.
Whichever color it is. My gosh. I've been in the cloakroom. Did I see anything that could be detonated, that could explode?
No, but you saw a lot of bags, a lot of coats, a lot of purses.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This loop is the bag loop. I'm going to wait until after the attendant is knocked out and the swap has happened by Margaret and just rifle through bags and coats.
Okay. So you go into the cloakroom and you're hiding in there, I assume?
I'm just rifling. I'm just no holds barred.
Are you just rifling before she gets there or after she gets there?
Probably after.
Okay. Awesome. So the attendants, they're there on the ground. We don't really care. You're just rifling through bags, rifle. You find a duffel bag placed in one of the corner cubbies. Pull it out. It's hefty. Super hefty. You set it on the counter, unzip it. There is what looks like a detonation device in there. Classic countdown, timer, everything, wires all over the place, and such.
Okay. Can I cut the red wire?
You certainly can.
Does it explode?
You cut the red wire, and the device stops the numbers. So you assume
the clock stopped.
You're an expert bomb diffuser, and thus you have saved countless lives.
All right, heck yeah. Hey, if I'm assuming I could do this before the jump and all that. So I'm gonna do everything I can to make this the perfect loop. So I'm going to
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna switch the carts as soon as I find this thing. I'm gonna do whatever I can to disable it to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
Probably don't got anything. I'm going to switch the carts. After I switch the carts, I think I'm gonna run into the jungle room where I expect to see eventually after the speech a muttering Miss Nellie. And she's smoking, she's lighting one up. I am yoinking that right out of her hands.
Okay. Yoink it out, throw it on the ground, crush it. She rolls her eyes, storms off.
All right. I'm going to leave a sticky note on the sanguine serpent that says, I'm on to you.
I love it.
Oh man, what else can I do? I'm gonna find Gavrel and tell him, breathe deeply.
Breathe deeply.
I don't know, I don't know what his medical
okay.
problem is, but it's unless he was poisoned. Was he poisoned? Did Julian poison him? I want to wait. He has a cup. He has 2 cups.
A drink glass in his hand. He has 2 drink glasses in his hand.
Oh my gosh. But did maybe Julian didn't want to poison him? Maybe it was a cup. Wait, that's why Julian was watching, because he was maybe poisoning him. I'm going to, if I have time. I know I'm not really going through time. I'm going to find him. He has the 2 drinks. I'm gonna just bap him out of his hands accidentally. Oopsie.
I love it.
I don't know for sure, but that's like the only consumption that happened. If it's a preventable death, that has to be it. Like, that's got to be it. And after that, I'm assuming that we are rounding the point of 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then last thing, if I'm able to, I just want to ask someone. I want to explain the lady in the closet and be like, yeah, she's a friend of mine. Well, she's an acquaintance of mine. What was her name? What does she do? Like, literally anyone who's...
The lady in the closet that you found in the cave, in the jungle?
Yes.
Okay. So you're letting her out.
Yes, that's what I do. After I put that sticky note, after I knock the drinks, I'm going to open the closet.
She's sitting there bound and gagged. You untie her.
Wait. Did I have keys?
You, hugs you.
Do I have keys?
I assume if you knocked the drinks, you took Gavril with you to be like, hey, there's someone locked in a closet. So.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, see, that's a better narrative. Oh, whoops. I'm so sorry. I knocked those drinks out of your hands, but there's something important going on here. Let her out of the closet.
Cool. Get her out. She's shaken, not stirred.
Any context clues into who this woman is? Is she another attendant of the museum?
She seems to be very close to you because she's clinging to you a lot.
Is she supposed to be my plus one?
You slide your hand into her pocket, try to rummage around. You find her ID card. She is Vivian Bell.
Vivian, I haven't heard that name since the first loop, and I didn't do anything about it.
Yes.
My gosh. Okay, what do I know about Vivian? Remind me what I was told about Vivian. This is my...
Julian brought it up. He seemed surprised that you brought this random woman, Genevieve, instead of Vivian. Because he thought you were going to bring her.
And maybe I did. Was Vivian tied up by Genevieve then? Did Genevieve replace Vivian?
You think back to the loops where you got to start at 6:30. You did see Genevieve go into the jungle.
That's right. Assuming I still have time before 8, I'm going to ask Vivian, where were you? Were you in this room when you were attacked?
I was told you were waiting for me in here, and so I came inside, and I walked across the bridge, and I couldn't find you, and then someone came up behind me, and hit me over the head.
Who told you that I would be here?
Some woman in a red dress.
Okay, is Gavril still sort of with us?
Yes.
You know what? I'm going to take Vivian Bell by the hand and Gavril in my other hand. I'm going to say, Gavril, I know that you have a certain meeting planned in the statuary gardens with a certain lady, but I think it will be in your best interest to join me in the atrium under the skylights.
He seems hesitant, but given that you just showed him where a captive was, he nods and then follows you.
What time is it?
It's getting pretty close to 8. It's like 7:55.
Okay, I walk with Vivian and Gavril to the foyer, and pulling out all the stops, I'm going to point up and say, in 5 minutes, a man is going to fall from that ceiling, and it's Etienne Cousteau. While we're waiting, I also pull out the man who was knocked out with chloroform or whatever.
Gavril rushes over and tries to fan the man back to consciousness, but he's fully out. He also sees the bomb that has been neutralized on the table.
Yeah, and then I watch for the body to fall. In fact, I want to, if I can, through the glass, see what's happening from the man up there.
At around 57, you see something shifting around up there. You can see vaguely a black form, and then 59, a window opens silently. You see a face peer down, and then 8 o'clock hits. He takes a step and falls right into the bucket of foam.
As he lands, I am going to actually be basically standing right next to it and whisper into his ear, "Are you okay?"
His eyes flash open for a second before he's like, oh, closes his eyes again.
I hate to inform you this, but someone tried to thwart your fake death with a real death, and I think it's time you all knew. I assume at this point there's some screams as other people saw the body fall.
Yes. Yep. So people are gathering. You can see all the suspects. You can see Genevieve at the top of the stairs, a little distant away. But Margaret is trying to push you away from the body. Julian is there trying to take a look at the body as well. Nellie's there screaming. Kira's there observing as well. Everyone's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this gala took a turn. I'm going to look around and say, unfortunately, we have all observed the death of poor Etienne Cousteau. But was it a death? Was it a suicide? Perhaps we would find his shoes upon the roof at this very moment. Because he jumped intentionally.
Ripples of gasp.
How curious to see in this elegant gala a bin placed right in front of the T-Rex. So unclean and unkempt. Of foam, no less. How curious that it would be placed exactly in the spot where he would fall. But ladies and gentlemen, this man is not dead. And I'm gonna just I'm gonna go over to him and just sort of pat his chest and be like, you can pretend as long as you want. It's I'm gonna keep explaining and you just decide whenever you're ready. And I'm gonna look around and say, every case I get to a point where I'm like, I want to sound suave, but I don't know everything. In this case, I straight up do not know motive, but I also saw the crime committed, so I am absolutely certain.
Yeah, you can accuse and fully say, but I don't know why, or something like.
Sure,
yeah,
and it'd be like, why'd you do it? So I'm going to look around and say, this gala is full of people with different thoughts and feelings towards Etienne, but only one of you had it out for him this evening. And it was you! I point towards Margaret.
Everyone turns their head towards Margaret, who folds her arms, gives a shake of her head.
Margaret, not 1 hour and 30 minutes ago, knocked out this poor man, gesturing over to the coat person, who I hope is rousing maybe a little bit, maybe not.
Yeah, they're making some movements.
Which I can only presume was to gesturing to the cart of rocks. Replace this rock cart with the foam pit. You knew he was staging this to jump, and you knew it was the opportunity to kill him for real. If your plan went on as you intended, you would make sure that it appeared as a suicide in whatever way possible, including forging a note. And perhaps it is all to do with the Revenant.
Margaret unfolds her arms, stares you dead in the eye, and says, I knew. Of course I knew. Etienne and I were in this whole scheme together. Sit up, you son of a gun. Etienne, slowly rises from the foam and, seems very uncomfortable now. He's not sure what to do. There's, fake blood on his chest. He looks around, looks at Margaret. She rolls her eyes. I would find the artifacts. Etienne here would fence them. Things were going well until he started to play with bigger clients, namely the Revenant. Of course, I told him no, told him it was dumb, but he went behind my back anyway. And then both our heads were in deep water when we realized that the Revenant knew we'd sold them fakes. And so, I did the only thing I could to save my hide. I squealed on him. Working for the Revenant had its perks, but I knew it couldn't last forever, and I needed Etienne to still trust me, and I needed the Revenant to trust me. So, I came up with a plan with Etienne. We were to stage a fake death. At this point, Etienne jumps in. You told me you had everything planned out exactly. I was to follow the instructions. You said this was safe. You said you'd get me out of here. You said you'd take me to a place the Revenant wouldn't find me. Margaret rolls her eyes. The Revenant always finds you. So I decided to double cross everyone here. I helped Etienne initially fake his death, plan the whole thing. I knew. I've jumped off a few high heights in my life.
Recreationally? Like base jumping we talking about? Or you faked your death multiple times?
She just rolls her eyes and continues. Anyway, I planned this whole thing out. I had the timeline set. Everything was going to plan. All I had to do was switch the cards. Easy. But I still needed those notes from the Revenant, so nothing could get tracked back to me, right? So I need to get into his office. Anyway, okay. I'm trying to decide whether to keep monologuing or just give you the details.
Okay, so maybe those notes would have helped me learn that the Revenant was out to get him, or at least he was afraid of such.
There were more notes in the desk drawers from the Revenant threatening him. Etienne needed a way out. Margaret supplied the way out with a fake your own death plan, but she also needed Etienne dead and wanted the dial for herself, so she at the last minute swapped the carts, so he thought everything was going to plan, but she knew that he would actually be dead. So he jumps off the roof, he's dead, boom. She needs to make sure he's dead and go on to the next part of her plan, which was to acquire the sundial. So it's pandemonium at this point, right? So she moves into the next phase of her plan. She goes to the elevator where she stashed a ladder and the clothes from the hunter exhibit upstairs in the Arctic.
I am sad I missed this part.
No worries. She goes through the Arctic exhibit, breaks the power box open, shuts down the power, steals the sundial, goes up to the roof, where Etienne, according to their plan, had left her something important, a USB. She was to collect this because it had all the data on the Revenant deals, and so she wanted that. She broke into the office to steal the rest of the Revenant papers, wrote the suicide note, and then left via the ivy, crawling up at the side. And I would have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for you meddling professor. You also point to the bomb. She tosses her hair and explains that a real murderer needs to cover their tracks.
Yikes, dikes. A murder most foul. But not really, because I saved his life. You're welcome. But this was not the only person with malintent at this gala tonight. And I'm not just talking about the attempted arson that would have been conducted by Miss Nellie. No, also Miss Vivian here, and I gesture towards Vivian Bell, and I look over towards Genevieve, was found in a closet.
Genevieve is not at the top of the stairs at this moment. Sometime during your monologue, she has disappeared.
Well,
but you're welcome to still.
Well, if she's not there, I think that I just stop there and I say, like, I found her in a closet. So clearly, Margaret was not the only one with evil intent tonight. As well as, excuse me, Gavril, where did you get your drinks from earlier?
My drinks? I believe Julian handed them to me. Julian's like going like this to you across the... He's giving the stop motion to you across the
Nathan, for
crowd.
this audio medium, would you like to... I'm just teasing you. Yeah, all right. He's not loving this, and I'm laying all the cards on the table, so I'm going to say, Julian, did you know that he was going to have a drink with Miss Kira? I don't know why I'm putting Miss in front of everyone's name, but here we are.
I had no idea, Professor. Honestly, I don't even know. I wish I hadn't done it, but nothing happened. Everything's fine. Everyone's fine. No one is hurt. Everything is okay.
But perhaps in a different...
forget about it.
In a different timeline, you would be guilty of murder.
What are you talking about, murder? I wasn't trying to murder anyone. Just knock them out for a bit.
Did I ever check a pulse on Gavril, or was he allergic to whatever he drank?
He was well and truly dead. But you might remember from one earlier conversations from someone that he did have heart problems. Nellie, I believe, told you that at some point.
Oh, really?
Not 100% sure who it was, but he might have been more susceptible to something that would knock him out than the average person.
I lay on some words of chastisement on the young fellow and say, "Why'd you do it? Why'd you try?"
I just wanted what my parents found. I just needed that back. The serpent was the find, and they didn't. They gave their lives for these expeditions, for these discoveries. Etienne didn't recognize them at all. They died on the next one and didn't even get to bury them. I just wanted something of my parents.
So, an intended theft of the sanguine serpent.
But I didn't. It's still there.
This is Minority Report, bud. If you were gonna, you already did. I think with that, I kind of stop my monologue, and I look around and really just wonder how exactly does Genevieve tie into all of this?
As you step away from the shocked crowd who just learned of 2 attempted murders and thieveries, the white gulf begins to creep in on the edge of your vision. But then it freezes everything. You check Pocket Watson, and he too is frozen. When you open him up, just blink. Everyone's frozen. Almost. Except walking down the grand staircase is Genevieve. She smiles, parts through the crowd, and grabs your hand, pressing something into it. She holds up the sticky note. "I'm on to you too. See you around, Marcus." The white rushes in, and she's gone, replaced instead with the Gala exhibit, different, yet the same. The artifact is sitting in its place, while the sanguine serpent is gone. And in your hand is an obsidian compass engraved with 4 words. Ghost in the machine.
I got chills.
Question your questions. Pull back the curtain. You're a pawn on the board and nothing is certain. The murder museum has secrets between. We'll find you again. The ghost in the...